when Tony Khan brought CM Punk into AEW, he still had that mystique, the pipe bomb mystique. He was this character that stood up to the man and then walked away. And there's a rebel or rebellious quality in that character that I think the average American admires. So Punk had this mystique, and this still had his fan base, and Tony Khan was able to take advantage of that. And over a very short period of time, that mystique began to just dissipate. It was like letting the air out of the balloon a little bit more each and every week. And you look at, CM Punk came in and, great ratings. And then literally the next week started in a free fall back down to pre-Punk levels. Mm-hmm. You look at where AEW is in terms of week-to-week ratings, which is the only thing we can have to measure that's public, because the financial information is all private. We don't really hear anything about the real financial information. We just get the top line stuff. But, ratings are is the data that we have that we can go, oh, okay, this is where this product is going. Flatline. Shortly after CM Punk got there, flatline to pre-Punk levels. And I think that a lot of that has to do with people came, they were excited because of the aura and the mystique they saw, and they went, not so much. A little bit, but nothing special. And then for Punk to conduct himself in the manner in which he did, I think left a bad taste in not only the fans' mouths, but why would anybody want to hire a guy that's willing to live publicly disparage the guy that's writing him a check every week?
And he's right next to him.
Why he's right next to you? Why would anybody want to be in business with that guy?
Like, for example, that's a good, I agree with you. But what if, let's go back to WCW. Like, what if you were sitting there next to Macho Man and he starts going off? How do you shut that down? Do you just say, you just grab the microphone and say, no, we're not doing this.
You grab your own microphone. Look, Tony's not a physical guy. Tony Khan is, whatever. And I'm not suggesting that physicality on anybody's part would have been the solution at that point. But in terms of taking control of the situation, I'm not going to say what Tony should have done. I'll say what I would have done, what I think I would have done. You never really know until you're in that spot.
Well, because that's going to be talked about forever.
But, Tony had a mic. He had his own mic. He could have grabbed that mic, stood up, and said, this conference is over. Thank you all very much. Shut down the audio. Boom. It's over. And then sort it out. But to sit there and be thrashed and filleted like a fish by a guy that you're writing a check to for more money, 5 times more money than he's really worth, is mind-boggling to me. And again, I'm stubborn in some respects. I think the most important quality that anybody has in life is loyalty and integrity above talent. And if someone would be that disloyal to me and show that lack of integrity, I would never want to be in business with him. I don't care how much money I can make, because it's going to be a short-term win. You're going to win for a minute and you're going to be sorry, because that's been the pattern, hasn't it? It's a well-established pattern.
CM Punk, that man I absolutely loved so much for so long, and when he was brought back into the wrestling world in AEW, I was finally, like, we've been waiting so long. And then unfortunately that media scrum situation happened, and then he was injured that night as well. So there's a lot of like, will he, won't he type of deal. CM Punk, AEW, is this a situation that you think he will return, or that media scrum, or can we move past this and do business?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't even want to I haven't paid too much attention to it. I know that it happened.
Yeah.
I saw clips of it when it happened. and I guess I don't know enough about the circumstances surrounding it to like even make a informed decision or, so I just, you know, hopefully everybody can get past it. And, I think he's good for the business. He's
Yeah.
obviously, I think that night, as he alluded to, they did some record numbers at AEW, I believe, right?
Yeah. Every time he was on pay-per-view, they were doing record numbers in the towns they were in as well. So if anyone wants to disparage CM Punk's name for one night of miscommunication versus making money for years upon years, well, that's up to you as a business owner or as a fan. So either way, I think CM Punk returning to AEW is good for wrestling, and we'll have to see how that goes down.
I remember, I've got kind of a funny story. Like I hated CM Punk for a while when I was on Independent.
And why? Why was that?
Because there was a wrestling company called IWA Mid South run by Ian Rotten out of it was like the border of Indiana and Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of a big deal. He did this big show every year called the Ted Petty Invitational Tournament. It was called something before that, but when Ted Petty died, they renamed it to Ted Petty Invitational. And it was like all the up and coming indie stars would compete. So Austin Aries and I got booked on this thing. It's our first like big deal that we're doing. We go all the way down there. We're wrestling each other, and we have what we thought was a good match. It was actually the first time I ever did the Finley roll off the second
nice.
rope. He was the first person I ever did it to, and it incidentally, like, I didn't do it until I got to WWE again, which was years later. For some reason, I just didn't keep doing it. But we had what we thought was a solid match, and you can't wait to get the tape, right? So we can watch it. At the time, tape trading was a huge thing.
Oh yeah.
And IWA Mid-South tapes were gold. So people, I finally got a copy of this tape. We pop it in, watching it, and it was it's like CM Punk, Dave Prazak, and Ace Steel on commentary, and they were burying us. It felt like they were burying us like that, and it wasn't like in character. It was like just kind of taking the piss at us.
Wow.
And I remember, like, I didn't like him. I was pissed at him about that. And then I bumped into him on a show. We were booked on a show together, and I just pulled him aside. I was like, "Hey, man, can I talk to you?" And I said, "This." And I brought it up, and I said, "What? Do we have heat or something like that? What the fuck, man?" And I remember, like, he gave me the most sincere, heartfelt apology. It wasn't like, "Oh, well, I was just in character." He's like, I'm really sorry. It was bullshit. I shouldn't have done that." Like, and we were cool. And then I remember I still sort of like, but it wasn't like all was forgiven in that instant. So then I had gotten called up on the road for WWE out of OVW. Paul Heyman was writing TV there. And I remember Paul really loved CM Punk.
Oh, yeah.
And I was Paul's baby, for that couple months before he got me out the door. He got me on TV. And then, Punk was the next guy that he focused on. And I didn't like it. And I remember one time, God bless you. I remember, and I remember Paul took me and Punk out for sushi one night, and we just sat down and like just talked. And I've loved him ever since. Like, sometimes brothers got to fight. And
yeah.
But yeah, Paul brought us together, and we rode together a little bit when we were both at WWE. So,
outstanding.
And then yeah.
So sushi brings everyone together, it seems.
It does.
Sushi and Paul Heyman, of all people, you would think Paul Heyman bringing people together. Interesting. And, over the years, you hear, I've talked to ECW wrestlers from, the ECW 93 to 2001 days, and they'd be like, "I love Paul, but I also wanted to kill him." I'm like, oh. And then the new generation of wrestlers who work with them in the WWE, they're like, "Man, what a creative genius!" I never hear the second part of, "Oh, I wanted to kill him." I always hear I always hear the first part of I loved him so much and he was so great and all that good stuff. Though talk
I
about our
don't have a
story.
negative. I don't have a negative thing to say about Paul Heyman, man.
Good.
He changed my life.
CM Punk has been back in AEW for about a few months now. And
Yeah, but I mean, it's like when you spend hours and hours and hours formulating your own style, your own style of wrestling.
Mhm.
It's different from everybody else, and you might be, say, in Japan and create it. Then you have someone from, say, I don't know, the United States, watch it, take all your stuff, and profit off of it. How frustrating is that?
and it has been known for years people have done this. Huge names in America have done this to wrestlers from Japan. There's one particular move that the GTS is one I think that unfortunately
You've done your homework, my friend.
Yeah, I know. I have done my homework. I and it's not like anything new. And that's the problem, though. People who look like innovators in America are not innovators in America. They have borrowed someone else's work. There's a difference between being inspired versus
Borrowed.
stealing.
No, they stole. Yeah.
There's a lot of people now. The GTS thing that's stolen. That's not borrowed.
The whole repertoire, the whole comeback was stolen. From the knee in the corner to the bulldog to the really, really crappy roundhouse kicks that said wrestler does. Yeah.
Yeah. And
See, that's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about
Yeah.
when it gets frustrating.
Yeah, because it happens to a lot of different people. Like, obviously, that situation is completely different. I don't know what they have said to each other backstage or on the phone.
Nothing. No, because said wrestler is too scared to get in with the innovator. Because the innovator could just annihilate that person in the ring.
Go back to January 6th, 2014. You were invited back to Monday Night Raw. It was like old school Raw, the Shield's in the ring, and John Moxley, at the time Dean Ambrose, he got beaten down, and you got to put the snake on him. And you see his face, and he's smiling, and he's laughing, he's having a blast. Did he volunteer?
Yeah.
Did he come up to you and say, I want to do this?
He's laughing because CM Punk told him the snake shit on him. But he didn't.
Oh, my God. Did not know that story.
Yeah.
I just assumed he was having the time of his life, having one of the legends of Jake the Snake Roberts drop a snake on him, but apparently it involves a dookie.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Jake! Jake, you are a piece of work, and I love it so much. I love your stories. One final thing though, when you're done here on Earth, what do you want wrestling fans to remember you for?
For the help that I gave to those needing help.
Right.
Addiction was a big part of my life, and I'll always be an addict. But today I'm doing great, and I look for nothing less than doing great. But there's a lot of people out there struggling, and I just keep trying to reach them and trying to help them. There's been quite a few come to me for help, and we've been very successful. So, yeah, I want to be remembered as a man,
Wow.
that gave as much as he got.
Let's throw out this question. What's more likely to happen? CM Punk shows up in Chicago at Survivor Series, or he's revealed to be the devil in the mask in AEW.
People keep on talking about this devil character. It's kind of I doubt that.
You doubt he's the devil?
I doubt CM Punk is ever going to be in All Elite Wrestling again. And if I'm wrong, then I was worked just like every other human in the business. But I do still have friends there, and I do know, definitely more details than a lot of you guys in both situations that happened with CM Punk. And I know they weren't worked, they weren't fake. So if my friends are working me, then fuck them. But anyways, I can see CM Punk going back to WWE, especially with that the money they just and the acquirement of the WWE from what is it, Endeavor? Is that the name of the company?
Yeah, Endeavor, who owns UFC, who now formed the company TKO. So now there's a lot of flow of money.
Yeah, there's a bag, and Nick Khan's a smart guy, very smart guy, and I think he's turned around that business in a big way. With whether he has something to do with Logan Paul coming in, that puts more eyes on the business than ever. That guy's a mega star, you know. He's one of the biggest celebrities in the world. Now he's the U.S. champion, and then you got all these celebrities coming in, and you have Cody Rhodes back, and he's just a huge merch seller, babyface ticket pusher for that company, and Roman Reigns and the Bloodline storyline and all that stuff. You know, they've done a lot of good business in the last year or so, and I could see CM Punk coming back there, whether some of the wrestlers there like it or not. Yeah, but he'll be more caged there, and I guarantee you, if CM Punk comes back to WWE, he won't be fighting anyone in that fucking locker room.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think there's
They
probably
handle-
something.
Somewhat, I hate to say it, AEW, sometimes the inmates run the asylum, which is not good for the business. Sometimes you need to have these guys on a leash, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, especially some of the stuff I look back at AEW, some of the stuff I said on social media, and some of the things I've done and the way I acted at some points, like getting drunk and getting into little spats with people at concerts and stuff. You know, it should have been a lot more clear to me that I shouldn't do something like that or be in those types of situations that I'm now on TV, and their reputation, my reputation is their reputation. But I haven't been there in a couple of years, so I don't know how it is. So I just know it's a wild west of wrestling. So who knows? You know, good for those guys getting paid. Good for them, and I in WWE, if you're in trouble,
because in Europe they're hotter than anything that's going on. They do great business over there. I think there's a lot of factors that come into it, right? The Khans own a football team over there, so they have that avenue. They have businesses in that side of the world. They have that avenue to bring in, the people. I think a successful night for them would be 45 or better, right? Half. If you fill half of Wembley Stadium. Now, the problem with that is, okay, you bring somebody in for that day just to sell one venue, right? There's talk of Punk coming back, and is that where he's going to debut? Or is that all the conversation, right? So that's going to sell tickets now because there's talk of Goldberg because now he's a free agent. There's Drew McIntyre. There's all these people that are now not selling these things and not re-signing, and now we're building to Wembley. But what do you do after Wembley? So I think successfully for them, and I hope, because it's all the same business. So I hope they get at least 45,000. I think anything after that, they should be going, holy crap.
Right.
Like, we did it.
Yeah.
But I think you're going to bring that team in there, that group of talent, and I think they're going to do well. I'd like to see them do 45 or better, because you can't bark at, you can't just walk away from 45,000 people.
No, it's good business. And I think the argument too is people are coming from all around. It's not just in London. Like people are coming from all Europe to go to this, because European fans are rabid and they want wrestling, and they don't get a lot of the main companies, the WWEs, the AEW. So having them here, and which is crazy, is because Money in the Bank is in July. That's also in London. That's in a big arena for WWE. AEW comes up in August. So it's sometimes when towns follow each other, it's like, well, I already spent my money on Money in the Bank and bought my shirt and bought my ticket, spent a lot of money. Now you want me to spend more money on AEW. And I think that's the aspect of the business of, like, does a regular Joe have the money to go to both events, buy the merchandise, bring their family, whatever. So there's a lot of avenues going on right now.
Well,
So I'm very interested to see what happens.
And if you look at it too, look at how many the international people that come for WrestleMania.
Oh,
Now you're at Wembley.
crazy.
So you can come from Germany, Ireland, all over that area, and it's 3 times cheaper than coming to the US for a WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. And I don't necessarily know if they need, naturally, if you put a Punk back out there and say he's going to be at Wembley, I think it drives sales, but I equate that to saying the WrestleMania was sold out before they announced the match.
Right.
It's WrestleMania.
True.
And there was talk of The Rock. So did people buy it because they thought The Rock was going to be there? Didn't matter because they still did 80,000 both nights. So
yeah,
I think if they have the right people in play, but always my concern is, okay, once you have that, what do you do if
What's
it's a
next?
one and out? Maybe that draws people to see it. Maybe it's the last time they'll see him, or maybe it's something to build. So I think that's a long answer to say 45 plus is the thing they should shoot for.
Yeah.
I think if they don't do half of Wembley, it may slow down the process of doing more of those.
Right.
But I'm excited for the guys and girls that are getting out there and starting to do some live events.
CM Punk visiting Monday Night Raw, going backstage, and then he visits Impact Wrestling backstage. Is it a world tour? Is NWA next? Like, what is happening?
I don't know. Brother's just going around, just hopping like little bunny foo-foo everywhere, seeing all of his friends, seeing what he can pick up or put down. It's interesting. It's interesting times.
I know. And to me, that's really, I guess the word interesting is a good, safe word, because in reality, you have no idea what this is. Is this a classic, go back in the day of Hulk Hogan, where you'd read in the Observer that Hogan's talking to Vince while he's still negotiating with WCW, so that would get him more money with WCW. Yeah. Is the same thing happening with CM Punk? We have no idea. The rumors are that CM Punk will come back at AEW, a Saturday night show, maybe try to sell out Wembley Stadium as well. So there's a lot to this. Why is CM Punk backstage at Raw? And the rumors and stories were he was talking to The Miz, Triple H. Are you telling me he can't get their cell phone numbers?
Hello, but people are talking. So whatever his end game is, people are talking.
I guess so, but if you're Tony, what the hell are you thinking?
Probably Tony's got so much on his plate right now. I mean, considering that the draft is happening, I'm pretty sure he's pulled every which way, let alone worried about what Punk is doing. He's probably out there being Phil right now.
I guess so. But I know the joke people were saying to me, I was like, CM Punk's backstage, this is crazy. They're like, well, the muffin place he loves so much isn't open on Mondays. So he clearly has an open schedule to visit Raw. To me, it's maddening to think that what did he think? No one was going to say anything. No one would notice. There are spoilers all day long for all companies. You telling me that CM Punk, who hasn't been backstage in the WWE since 2011, isn't going to be a story?
Yeah, he knew. There's no doubt in his mind that he knew.
Yes.
Like I said, he just got the people talking, and maybe he's out there trying to feel his worth.
Maybe. I would be doing the same thing. I would do the same thing as long as, I guess, you're not tampering with contracts. I know that's a big, stickler in any sport, any wrestling, any organization. So the fact that he's talking to Triple H, and the story goes that once Vince McMahon found out CM Punk was backstage, he was like, get him back here. Because obviously, that's a red flag for lawyers.
Right. It is. That could be a definite conflict of interest. And once lawyers get involved, you kind of just don't touch that.
No. It's
I just
smart for you.
Let Phil do Phil.
Let Phil do Phil. Yeah, we'll have to see. Yeah, it was crazy. This past week has been insane because you had CM Punk backstage at Raw, then Impact. Again, NWA is next. What TJPW? Like, what's next?
And I see my mentions been going up. I'm not the devil either, so don't worry about that. Like,
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Are you sure?
If you seen the devil, man, the devil don't got no belly. You know what I'm saying? Like, let alone the height, but let's throw the height out the window. The devil ain't got no belly, man. I got a belly, man. I can't be. Come on, bro. It's not me.
So, you're also gonna dress up as CM Punk and show up at Survivor Series?
I mean, if the check's right, I'll definitely dress up as CM Punk. So,
Pepsi tattoo and all.
Oh, I'll get a Pepsi. I mean, I can't get a Pepsi tattoo there because I already tattooed, but I'll get a Pepsi tattoo on my knee, right? For the go to sleep knee, for sure.
That's all the internet right now is going with is CM Punk. Will he be at Survivor Series or is he the AEW devil, even though, some things happen there. So it's all up in the air. Since we're here for 1 second, then we'll let you wrap it up. CM Punk, is he going to be at Survivor Series?
Hell if I know. I mean, I'm sure it'll draw. It's in Chicago, right? So, like, if there's anywhere Punk could show up and it would get a massive reaction, it would be in Chicago. But, like, one thing I learned in my time in WWE is don't nobody know nothing. Like nobody knows what's happening week to week on the shows. Well, let me rephrase. None of the talent know. You know what I'm saying? Week to week on the shows. Like, every once in a while, I mean, obviously Roman knows. Roman's going to know. They're going to keep Roman in the loop. Roman is the guy. He's the reason the company's doing so well right now. You know what I'm saying? So he knows. But, like, 99% of the roster don't know what they're doing next week, let alone at Survivor Series. So, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I would have no idea if he's coming. But if they're going to do it, Chicago will be a good place.